Hey, it's Jess. Welcome back. Today I'm here with my September TBR, so all the books that I hope to read in September of 2025. I already have 5 books kind of planned that I want to read this month, so let's start there. For my in-person nonfiction book club, we will be reading The Witches Are Coming by Lindy West. This is like a more lighthearted book than we've read the last few months. We've been reading some like really dense, heavy books, which have been good and informative, just we needed something a little lighter. This is talking about how there's a witch hunt, but we're the witches and we're hunting you. I don't really know anything about this book. One of our members suggested it. It sounded really interesting, and so I don't really know what it's about, but it sounded interesting at the time. She had read it before and wanted to give it a reread, and the rest of us thought it sounded cool, so we're reading that one. Sorry, I don't really know much more about it. For the Buzzwordathon, hosted by Books and Lala here on YouTube, the title prompt for September is events. And so I am going to be reading The Haunting of Adeline by H.D. Carlton, because haunting is definitely an event. This is a cat and mouse duet, so it's kind of like dark romance. I got stuff in front of me. It's kind of dark romance with a stalker, I think. I don't know very much about it. I've heard that it's very dark, but you know, I read Butcher and Blackbird last year and was kind of just like, that's not as dark as I expected it to be with as many trigger warnings. I've heard mixed reviews of this one, but I downloaded it from Kindle Unlimited. It's on my owned TBR, which I try to fulfill these prompts the best I can with books that I already own, because I'm trying to dwindle that list down as much as I can. It hasn't been going very well the last few months. I think I've read, well, it went okay in July, but like in August, I read 3 books off of my owned TBR, and one of them I added halfway through the month. So I'm trying to get more books off of that list. Then I have 3 library books that will be due soon. I have checked all of them out for a 3rd time, so this is the last time that I can renew my loan with them, so I have to get them finished. The first one is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. This is her newest release. It is sapphic vampires told from 3 different perspectives, 3 different timelines. I don't know. The only thing by V.E. Schwab I've ever read is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I absolutely loved. So I'm interested to read this one. Again, heard mixed reviews, but I got it from the library and I need to read it, so we'll see what I think about this one. The next book from the library I have is A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. I adore T. Kingfisher. I am trying to get through all of her backlist because I like just her fantasy, her horror. I love her writing. I have started listening to this on audiobook. I'm on chapter 19. I'm like 40% of the way through, but my hold on the audiobook was up, or like my loan was up, and there was other people who had it on hold, so I wasn't able to continue with the audiobook. So I'm going to finish this book reading it with my eyeballs, but I've enjoyed what I've read so far. You are following Cordelia. She knows that her mother is different. She learns that her mother is a sorceress, and they have traveled to another like town, city, because her mother, Evangeline, I think is what her name is. Yes. Her mother, Evangeline, is trying to seduce the like rich guy in this town and get him to marry her. But Cordelia finds out you can't use magic to seduce someone because holy ground shatters the illusion, and he would find out she's a sorceress and blah, blah, blah. Well, this guy's sister, Hester, is like, hey, something's up with these people. And is trying to stop the wedding, basically. Stop the seduction of her brother from Evangeline. Again, I'm almost halfway through, really enjoying it. I just love T. Kingfisher. Her characters are so dynamic. I love that they are not all young twinks. Like Hester is in her 50s. Super enjoy that. Love the writing. The story has been really interesting so far, and I can't wait to finish this one. The last book I have from the library is The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. I still haven't figured out if this is, I believe it's fiction, but it's based on an actual reformatory school called the Nickel House. So it's about the boys that were sent to this reformatory. And I read The Reformatory by Tananarive back in January, I think, which was also based on this real place in Florida. Basically, our reformatory schools were used, especially in the South, in like the 1950s. Bad kids were sent there. Read, black kids, boys, were sent to these schools and basically like abused and tortured, and it was not a good place. So when I was posting about the reformatory, a lot of people told me to check this book out because they enjoyed it as much as you can enjoy reading such a harrowing, true or based on a true story. So I saw it at the library, had to pick it up. Haven't started it yet. Excited to read it. Also a little scared because, again, I think it's going to be difficult to get through only because of the subject matter, but I've heard nothing but great things about it. So I'm really interested in reading it. I just think it's gonna be hard for me to get through, like, emotionally, and it's gonna be a lot of brain power to get through. But I will be reading this month, and I'm excited. As excited as you can be for such a horrible story. So those are 5 books that I plan on reading. I kind of only wanted to pick 3 books for my TBR jar to have 8 books, but I kind of like having 10 books because I kind of like having choice. So we're gonna pick 5 because it's my jar and that's what I feel like doing. I like to be able to mood read and kind of decide what I want to read, and hopefully I get through all of these, but if not, then I won't. Okay, here's the first one. It is, American Rapture by C.J. Lead. She wrote Mayfly, which I read 2 years ago, really enjoyed. American Rapture is like religious horror, something about a virus, I think. I don't really know a lot about it, but it's a book I don't own. Well, I do own it. I got it from Kindle Unlimited, which I consider that owned because I don't have to borrow it from the library or anything. So it's on my Kindle. I don't necessarily know a lot about the story. I know it's religious horror and something about a virus. I don't think it's zombie, but it's something like that. I just love CJ Lead. I loved Mayfly. And so when I saw that her newest book was available on Kindle Unlimited, I downloaded it. So I'm very excited to read that one. So that's exciting. Okay, let's see what we get next. Hopefully a book that I own like physically, because I need to clear off these shelves. I just got new shelves, but they're already getting full. Without Their Permission. I have no idea what that is. Let me look it up on Goodreads. Oh, it's because it's one of my newer books and I forgot that I owned it. I forgot the title of it. Let me find it. It's somewhere on this shelf here. Without Their Permission, How the 21st Century Will Be Made, Not Managed by Alexis Ohanian. This is by the co-founder of Reddit, basically about how they became an internet sensation, and they did it without asking permission. I don't really remember. Let's see. Without Their Permission details how Alexis and Steve dealt with the ups and downs of trying to launch Reddit, grappled with the VCs and Silicon Valley wisdom, and persevered to make Reddit a huge hit. Equal parts inspiration and perspiration, this book takes you inside what you really need to do in order to make your venture a success. I don't know if I'll like it. I got this book for 75 cents at a store during my birthday month. It sounded interesting, so I picked it up. So we'll see if I can get to this one. I hope I can. It's not very long, but the writing is okay. The writing's not too bad. And it looks like there's some illustrations in it too. So, all right. Obviously, I'm interested in this book because I bought it, even though it was only 75 cents. So I'm excited. I just totally forgot the name of that book. Because, again, it's one of the newest books the newest additions to my TBR and physical books. And I forgot the name. Okay, book number 3, we got Stoneheart. This is by Stoneheart by Katie Robert. This is a novella, short story novella, that's set in the world of the Dark Olympus series following Medusa. The Dark Olympus series is a spicy series where it's set in this town, city of Olympus. It has to do with the relationships and politicalness between gods, but it's really just like political positions named after the gods, the Olympus, the 13 gods of Olympus. That's a really horrible description. Anyway, it's basically like a spicy Greek mythology retelling series. I really like it. I've read the first at least 5, possibly 6, and I saw that Stoneheart, I can't remember if it was on Kindle Unlimited or maybe it was like an Amazon First Read. I don't remember, but I downloaded it to my Kindle because I love Katie Robert, I love Greek mythology, I love the Dark Olympus series, and so I downloaded it, and now I get to read it, so that's exciting. And again, that's the second book off of my owned, like, physical TBR, even though it's not physical because it's on my Kindle. But so far, all 3 of these books are books that I own, so that's exciting. Hooray, hooray. Okay, 2 more. This one is... Oh, this is When the Wolf Comes Home, but I read this in July for Summerween, so I'm actually going to put this in this jar. If you watched the video I posted right before this one, it was me like cleaning up my pulled pieces of paper from the TBR jar, but it was also, I talked about how I really need to clean this out because there's a bunch of books that I have read that are still in here, and that was one of them. So, okay, well, that helps me clean out the jar a little bit more. Hooray, hooray. All right, we have another one here. Still have 2 more to go. This one is, ooh, Fear the Flames. Hooray, I'm so excited. Fear the Flames by Olivia Rose Darling. This is a dragon book. I have heard that this is kind of like an Anakin and Padme retelling if they had had a happy ending. Love dragons. Don't dislike Star Wars. Erin, oh my gosh, I can't think of her last name, but she's on YouTube. I follow her. She really, really liked this book, and she's not a super fantasy reader. She's more horror and thriller, and she really enjoyed this. So I saw it at Barnes & Noble. I picked it up. This is part of my library book haul. Love a good dragon book, love a good fantasy book. And this one just, I don't really know anything about it, except that it's a Star Wars retelling with dragons. And that's good enough for me. All right. I guess once I read it, I can tell you more about it. All right, here is the last one we are picking. Oh no, I have too many. That's still 2. Okay. Here we go. We'll put that one back. Let's see what this one is. We Were Never Here. Is that the Geneva Rose book? I don't think it is. You Shouldn't Have Come Here, I think, is the Geneva Rose. Why? I do not own this book. Okay, an annual, sorry, I should tell you. We Were Never Here by Andrea Bartz. I have no idea why I put this on my list of books I want to read, but don't own. An annual backpacking trip has deadly consequences in a chilling new novel from the best-selling author of The Lost Knight and the Herd. Emily is having the time of her life. She's in the mountains of Chile with her best friend Kristen on their annual reunion trip, and the women are feeling closer than ever. But on the last night of their trip, Emily enters their hotel suite to find blood and broken glass on the floor. Kristen says the cute backpacker she's been flirting with attacked her, and she had no choice but to kill him in self-defense. So, it's a thriller. I probably heard about it from like Gabby Reads or possibly Olivia Reads a Latte. I don't remember putting it on my list of books I want to read. It does sound interesting, so that's exciting. I don't own that book, so I will have to get it from the library, but that's okay, because the other 4 books that I pulled are books that I do own, and that's exciting, because again, trying to dwindle down Last I looked, let's look again. I know there's one book that I'm currently reading that I don't have a slip for because I just downloaded it and I'm reading it, so I didn't put a slip, and that's the third, well, there's 2 books. I finished the second Dungeon Crawler Carl book, which was Carl's Doomsday Scenario, and then I started reading the third one, which is a Dungeon Anarchist cookbook. I don't have slips of paper for either of those, so I need to make them to put them in my jar up here because I've already read Doomsday Scenario and I'm currently reading the Anarchist cookbook. I'm doing a buddy read with my brother again. But anyway, I have 153 books on my owned TBR list. So I really got to get to that and really get it down. I am about to finish another book that I own for August. This is August 31st. I'm filming it. I'm finishing up a book, but still, that will only leave 152. So really need to get started on that. Excited about the choices, or like the slips. I'm excited about the books that we pulled this month. I think it's going to be good. Now I just have to sit down and read. I think that I will be reading more this month. August was just hard for me because I started school, and oh my gosh, the first 2 weeks back with students is a tired unlike anything that I can describe. And so basically I haven't been reading very much because I have come home and sat on my couch and rotted like a vegetable watching Orange is the New Black because I just don't have the brain power to read. And so I didn't get a lot of reading done this month, which is why I've only read 2 books off of my owned TBR. I don't think I even read most of my actual TBR that I pulled. But it is what it is. These are the physical books that I have. Whoa! That I will be reading this month. So we have Fear the Flames for a TBR jar pull without their permission, also from the TBR jar. The Nickel Boys from the library. A Sorceress Comes to Call, also from the library. And Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, also from the library. And then we have, 5 more books that I don't have. I do have. Haunting Adeline and Stoneheart and American Rapture. I have all of those. They're just on my Kindle, so I don't have physical copies. And then from the library, I will have to get, what was it? We Were Never Here? Yes, We Were Never Here. And I already have The Witches Are Coming on hold from my library. Another woman in my book club, my library only has 1 copy, and the other woman in my book club picked it up the night of our book club meeting. And so she said, she only gets it for 3 weeks. So she's like, put it on hold so I know to return it. So I'll get it when she's done with it. But I am getting a physical copy of that. I'm rambling. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. Here's to September. Here's to hopefully a great reading month. And now I want to know, what are you reading? Have you read any of these books and what did you think? All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.